everyone. Today we have with us Varchini. She'll be solving the IGCSE Mathematics Winter 2024, paper 42. She'll go through each question with you in detail so that you don't make silly errors and understand the concept behind each question. So over to you, Varchini.
Hi everyone. So today we'll be doing Winter 2024 paper 42. So we'll go to the first question. Anvi buys a new car and the price of the car is $28,240 and she's given a 7.5% discount. Calculate the amount she pays. Remember, we want the amount she pays, not her discount. So first we'll calculate her discount, which is 7.5%. And remember, percent is always by 100. So that will be 7.5% of, which is always a multiplication sign, 28240. So then we just have to put that straight into our calculator. 240. And we'll get 2118, which is the discount. But remember, we want the amount she pays. So we're just going to subtract the discount from her total amount, which will be 28240 minus 2118. And just put that straight into your calculator. And you'll get 26122, which is the answer. Okay. The fuel tank in the new car has a capacity of 45 liters. This is 72% of the capacity of the fuel tank in her old car. Calculate the capacity of the fuel tank in her old car. So we know we have the fuel tank in her new car and the fuel tank in her old car. We can completely disregard the first part of the question. So we know that the new car has 45 liters, which is equal to 72%. And remember, percent is by 100. So that's 72% of, again, which is always multiplication, the fuel tank in our old car, which we don't know. This is the unknown variable. So we're going to put it F. So now to calculate F, we need to put this on the side of the equation with nothing else. So we've got to get rid of this. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 72 by 100. So it's going to become F is equal to 45 divided by 72 by 100. And do not forget to add the brackets because it's going to mess it up if you don't put them in your calculator. So it's going to be 45 divided by 72 divided by 100. And you get 62.5, which is our answer. So now let's move on to the next question. Adi buys a new car costing $28,000. He pays for the car using a finance plan, and the finance plan is a deposit, 47 equal monthly payments of 330, and a final payment of 11490. So using this finance plan, Adi pays a total of 31900. So that means all of this together is equal to 31900. Calculate the deposit paid as a percentage of 28,000. So first, we need to calculate the deposit paid. So we know that this plus this plus this is equal to this, 31900. So to calculate the deposit, we're just going to have to subtract these two from 31900. So that's good. And we know that 47 equal monthly payments of 330 will just be 330 paid 47 times. So we can just calculate that in our calculator just to not overcomplicate anything. And we'll get 15510. So now to calculate the deposit, we're going to make this a variable. D is equal to the total he paid, 31900, minus the equal monthly payments, which is 15510, minus the final payment, which is 11490. Then just put this straight into your calculator. Minus 11490, and you get 4900. So now we know the deposit, but we don't just want the deposit. We want it as a percentage of 28,000. So we know the formula for percentage is the part by whole into 100. And over here, the deposit is the part. So it's going to be D, which is the deposit, divided by, which is 4900, divided by the 28,000, which we wanted of as a percentage of, into 100. We're just going to do 4900 divided by 28,000 in our calculator into 100. And we'll get 17.5, which is our answer. Okay, moving on. A car travels 64 kilometers, so that's going to be 64 kilometers, and uses 2.5 liters. It then travels 128 kilometers, 128 kilometers more, and uses 6 liters. Calculate the rate at which the car uses fuel during the whole journey. And we don't want a part of the journey, we want the whole journey. So let's underline that. Give your answer in liters per 100 kilometer. So this is giving us a clue in how to calculate our answer. To calculate the rate, we don't want distance by liters, but liters by distance, because that's the units over here. It's liters per 100 kilometers, which is liters per distance. And we also know here that it's not just the liters divided by the distance, but it's going to be liters divided per 100 km of the distance. So if we just divided this 2.5 plus 6 divided by 64 plus 128, we just get liters per kilometer. But we want liters per 100, each 100 of the kilometer. So we're going to divide the denominator by 100. That's going to be 2.5 plus 6 divided by 64 plus 128 by 100. And remember, again, when you're putting your calculator, do not forget the brackets, the most important part. Plus 6 divided by 64 plus 128 by 100. And the answer is 4.427. 4.427. But remember, in math, we need only 3 significant figures. We're going to round this off and make it 4.43. To the next question. At the start of 2021, the value of a car was 46500, and at the end of 2021, the value of the car was 20% less than this. At the end of 2022, the value of the car was 15% less than this value, and we want to calculate the value of the car at the end of 2022. So we know the formula for percentage depreciation is the total amount. The amount is equal to the initial value, which we're going to put P, into 1 plus the rate, which here is going to be 20 and 15 respectively, divided by 100. But it's not only getting depreciated once, it's getting depreciated twice. So now that's going to be A is equal to the principal amount, which is 46500 into 1 plus 20 by 100. Again, it's getting depreciated again, so we can just, so this will be, now this is going to be the next speed, this whole amount, into the next 1 plus r by 100, which will be 1 plus 15 by 100. Now to simplify this, we also know 20 by 100 is just 80, and for percentage depreciation, remember it's never a plus sign, it's always a minus sign. So don't forget that we're subtracting it because it's going to be less than 100. Okay, so now we can just put this, and we know that this is just going to be 0.8, and 1 minus 0.8 is 0 point, sorry, 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8, and we know 1 minus 0.85 is 0.1, so 1 minus 0.15 is 0.85. So all we have to do now is 46500 into 0.85 into 0.15, and we have our answer, uh, 465, sorry, 20 by 100 to 15 by 100. Okay, which is 31620. So we're just gonna write that over here. Okay, the table shows some values for y equals x cubed plus 4x squared minus 4. Complete the table. So this part is easy. All we need to do is substitute in the x values in this equation to get the output, which is the y values. So we're just going to put it in our calculator as minus 4 whole cubed. And don't forget, the minus has to be inside the brackets when you do this. Whole cubed plus 4 into minus 4 whole squared, and again minus 4. So the answer is just minus 4, so which we're just going to write over here. And now we just need this value. Again, we're just going to substitute in minus 1, and we're going to get minus 1 as the answer. Okay. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals x cubed plus 4x squared minus 4 for this x value, which is just this to this. So all we need to do is plot the graph. So we know, and we over here we know that for five y values there are 10 boxes. So we know each box is equal to 5 by 10, which is 0.5. So one box equals 0.5. And along the x-axis, we know 1 is after 10 boxes. So that's just going to be 1 by 10, which is 0.1. Okay, now we know that the first x value is minus 4.5. That's going to be minus 4, 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along this line, and it's at minus 14.1 for the y value. So that's going to be, over here is 10, so we can just count downwards from 10, and it's at this point. So we just go minus 10.5, minus 11, minus 11.5, minus 12, minus 12.5, minus 13, minus 13.5, minus 14, and minus 14. So as it's minus 14.1, we're just going to round that off and put it somewhere around minus 14. Okay, and for the next plot, it's going to be at minus 4, minus 4. So minus 4 is here, and over here it's going to be down from 5, so minus 4.5, and minus 4 will be over here. The next one is minus 3, 5. So it's minus 3 is over here on the x-axis, and 5 is all the way up here on the y-axis. All the way up here. Okay, and the next one, minus 2, 4. So minus 2 on the x-axis, and 4, which is going to be minus 4.5 and 4 over here. And minus 1, 1. So minus 1 is over here, and minus 1 again here on this one is going to be minus 0.5 and minus 1, which is right over here. 0 and minus 4 is the next one. So on the x-axis, that's 0, and it's minus 4 on the y-axis, which will be 2 up, which will be minus 0.45 and minus 0.4 over here on the y-axis. And over here is the next one, 1 comma 1, which will just be 0.5 and 1. And the last one, which is 1.5 and 8.4. So 1.5 is going to be 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5 along this line, and 8.4 on the y-axis, which is going to be, so we know 5 is over here, 5.5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8, and 8.5. We're going to approximately round it off to 8.5, which is along this line. So, which will be right here. Okay. Now all we need to do is connect the lines. So you need a pencil for this, and it'll be easier with a sharp pencil and paper. For me, I'm just gonna use my finger. It's a little rocky over here, but use a sharp pencil and your graph should be fine. Okay, the next part. Draw the tangent to the graph at the point 1, comma 1. Okay, so we know the tangent is a straight line and we need this to estimate the gradient. So it's along 1, comma 1. We need to take the two values beside 1, comma 1 and draw the line through those two values. So these two, let's take these 2 points, and we're just, we're just going to draw our line to the points closest to 1, comma 1, and make sure your gradient is long enough. So mine's going to be over here. So now all we need to do is estimate the gradient. So we know the formula for the gradient of a line is y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. So we just have to calculate that for our gradient. So we know, so let's take the first y coordinate up here, and we're just going to draw it over here. So that's 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8. That's going to be 8 minus the next y coordinate, which is down here, minus 5. So we'll just, and don't forget to add the minus 5. It's not just 5, it's a minus 5. Okay, divided by 2 x coordinates. So the top x coordinate for here was 2. It's going to be 2 minus, and we'll take our second x coordinate, which is 0. So now let's put that straight in our calculator, and we get 6.5. So your gradient will look a little bit different, and mine isn't entirely accurate because of the laptop, but make sure to draw your gradient with the scale, and you should be fine. Okay, for the next question, by drawing a suitable straight line on the grid, solve the equation x cubed plus 4x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. So now we have our original equation as this, and we need to find what intersects between these two. So to do that, we're just going to subtract our original equation from this. So we're going to do minus this equation. So it's going to be minus x cubed minus 4x squared and minus 4, which is plus 4. Now when we subtract these, we're just going to get minus x minus 2. And remember, we can just put this on the other side of 0 because we have this equals 0. So to make it easier, we're just going to make this x plus 2. which is the same as minus x minus 2. And now all we have to do is draw this line on this graph and find the values where this and x plus 2 intersect. So to draw x plus 2, we know that for a straight line, y equals mx plus c, and m being our gradient and c being the y-intercept. So over here the gradient is just 1 and c is 2. So we know that when x is 0, y is equal to 2. So we can plot our first point, which is 0.51, 1.52 over here. And we also know that we can also make a table over here of y coordinates and x coordinates. Okay, so let's start from all the way down here from minus 4. So our first coordinate, we're going to take minus 4. And when x is minus 4, we're just going to substitute this in here. Minus 4 plus 2, which will be minus 2 for y. So we're just going to take a few points. We just need a few points. So next, let's take x as 0. And y is going to be 2, which we already drew. And next, we'll take x as 2. And y is going to be 2 plus 2, which is 4. So let's draw these points. When x is 2, y will be 4, which is minus 4.5, and 4 will be over here. And we also know that when x is minus 4, y will be minus 2. So at minus 4, y is going to be 0.5, minus 0.5, minus 0.1, minus 1.5, and minus 1, minus 1.5, and 2 will be over here. So now we're just going to draw a straight line through these 2 points. Okay, and this line is, so we'll just put this in a different color so it's easier to look at. So this green line is going to be y equals x plus 2. Now we want to solve the equation. And to solve the equation, all we need to do is find the points where they intersect. So they intersect at 3 points. The first point is going to be this one. So we just have to trace this up over here. And it's at minus 3.95, and minus 3.9 minus 3.8 is going to be the x coordinate. So we're just going to write that over here. Minus 3.8. And for the next x coordinate, it's going to be over here where they intersect. So we just write that down here. And it's going to be minus 1.1, minus 1.2, minus 1.3, and minus 1.4. So we're just going to write that over here. And lastly, it's going to be this point. Don't get confused by your tangent. We want to find the line where x plus 2 and the curve intersect. So that's going to be over here, which will just be 1.1. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Okay, simplify. 3m minus 5n minus 4m plus 8n. So to do this, first let's put all the m terms together and make it 3m minus 4m minus 5n plus 8n. Okay, now all we need to do is put the m's together. So we know 3m minus 4m, since they're the same term, we can directly subtract these, and 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So we'll get minus 1m, and over here we know minus 5n and plus 8n are the same terms. So all we have to do is add 8 to minus 5, which is going to be 8 minus 5, which is 3. So it'll be plus 3n. And this will be our answer. Just gonna box this. Oh wait, my bad. Okay. Okay, yeah. 3a squared, c cubed, and the whole thing to the power 4. So we know all of these terms are to the power 4. So we're just going to open up the brackets and make it 3 to the power 4, a to the power 2 to the power 4, and c to the power 3 to the power 4. So we know whenever there are two powers, we can just multiply these. So it's going to become 3 to the power 4, a to the power 2 into 4, and c to the power 3 into 4. So now, to simplify these, just put 3 to the power 4 in your calculator, and you'll get 81. So it's going to be 81 a to the power 2 times 4, which is 8, and c to the power 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, to the next question. 4x by 5 minus 3x by 10 plus 2x by 15. So we know we can't directly add these because they all have different denominators. So we have to make the denominators the same. And to find that, we need to find the LCM of 5, 10, and 15. So the first multiple where they're all equal. And to do that, we just need to keep multiplying the largest term, which is 15, until we find a number that's a multiple of these two. So first we'll try 15 into 2, which is 30. And we know 10 goes into 30, and so does 5. So we'll use 30 as the denominator. So first we have to make this into the denominator to 30. So it's going to be 4x by 5, and we know 5 needs to be multiplied 6 times to become 30. So we're also going to multiply 4x into 6. Okay, for the next term, minus 3x by 10, and 10 needs to go thrice into 30. So we're also going to multiply 3x into 3. And the last term, plus 2x by 15, and 15 goes twice into 30. So 2x is also going to go twice. So now to simplify this, we're going to put the common denominator, which is 30. And all we have to do is add these terms, all of these terms. So we're going to do 4x into 6, which is 24x, minus 3x into 3, which is 9x, and plus 2x into 2, which is 4x. So now all we have to do is 24 minus 9 plus 4. If you're still at mental math, you can do it in the calculator, and you'll get 19x by 30. So that will be 19x.
It's always better to double check your calculations because if you know the concept, why get it wrong, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I mean, I always use a calculator, and you're allowed the calculator for this paper, so you might as well use it.
Yeah, this is the calculate. Yeah, there was a change, right? We were the
Yeah.
last batch who had both
Yeah.
calculators.
Yes. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Okay, for the B part, this isosceles triangle has a perimeter of 35.5 centimeters. Find the value of A. So we know that in an isosceles triangle, that two sides are equal, and as indicated by this, we know that this side is going to equal to this side. So this side will also be 3A plus 2. And we also know that the total perimeter is 35.5, which is this side plus this side plus this side is 35.5. So that's going to be 3a plus 2 plus 3a plus 2 plus a equals 35.5. Okay, so now all we have to do is solve for a. So let's add all the a's together, which is 3a plus 3a plus a, which is going to be 7a, plus 2 plus 2, which is 4, equals 35.5. So now all we have to do is make a the subject of the formula. So we're going to do a equals 7a equals 35.5 minus 4. And now we just have to divide both sides by 7 to find just a. So we're going to take 7 out of here and divide this by 7. So you can just put this straight in your calculator. 35.5 minus 4 divided by 7, which is 4.5. So a is going to equal to 4.5. Okay, to the next question. Using the quadratic formula, solve 5x squared minus 4x minus 3 equals 0. You must show all your working. Okay, so we know that in the quadratic formula, x equals minus b plus minus root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. And this term equals a, this term equals b, and this term equals c. So all I have to do is put this right in here. So that's going to be minus minus 4, which is going to be plus 4, plus minus square root of b squared, which is going to be minus 4 whole squared, which is 16, minus 4 into a, which is 5 here, into c, which is minus 3. Don't forget the minus sign. Okay. And the whole thing is divided by 2a, which is 2 into 5, which is 10 basically. So now we can either solve this manually or we can just put this straight into our calculator. So if you go to your calculator, there will be an option for equation, function, polynomial, and select 2, which is 2 degrees, and you put all these terms in, and you'll get x as you'll get x as x equals 1.27, and you'll also get x as minus 0.47. So you can do that, but remember you have to show the working before you do that, or you could just manually do it, in which case you'd get the same answers. So I'm just gonna put it in here, 0.27, and x equals minus 0.47. Okay, solve these simultaneous equations. X squared minus 4x plus 5 and y equals 2x minus 3. So we know that y always equals y. Okay, so that means this term is going to equal to this term. So we just have to do x squared minus 4x plus 5 equals 2x minus 3. Now, all we have to do is put all of these terms on one side of the equation, and then we can use the same quadratic formula that we used, which is going to be x squared minus 4x. So now we're going to take this onto this side of the equation, and the sign is going to change. It's going to be minus 2x plus 5, and again, the same thing with 3, so it's going to be plus 3. So now we can just we can now this will be x squared minus 6x plus 8. So we have to show our working. So we put in the quadratic formula and we do x equals plus minus my bad. Right. X equals 6 plus minus root of, and remember this is a, this is b, and this is c. So x is equal to 6 minus b, which is 6, plus minus root of b squared, which is 6 squared, minus 6 whole squared, which would be 36 minus 4 into A in this case, which is 1, into C, which is 8, and divided by 2 into 1. So now that we've shown our working, we can directly again put it into our calculator, where the first term is 1, the second term is minus 6, and the third term is 8. So we're going to get x equals 4 and x equals 2. So now to get y, all we have to do is substitute it into either one of these equations. It can be this equation or this equation. This equation is much easier, of course. So we can just put it in here. And it'll be 2 into 4 minus 3. So y equals 2 into 4 minus 3, which is 5. So the first one is going to be x is 4 and y is 5. And the second one is going to be x is 2, so it's going to be y equals 2 into 2 minus 3, which is 1. So it'll be 2 and 1. Okay, the angles of a quadrilateral are w degrees, x degrees, y degrees, and z degrees. The ratio w is to x plus y plus z equals 3 is to 5. Find the value of w. Okay, so we know that in a quadrilateral, the total sum of angles is equal to 360. So we know that w plus x plus y plus z equals 360. And we also know the ratio is 3 is to 5. So let's take it apart over here. So if w is 3, then the sum of these three is going to be 5. And we know that for all ratios, the total of the ratio is equal to find the number this is going to be multiplied into. So we know w is as a ratio is 3, so that means 3x and 5x, and we know that the sum of this will be the whole, so we know 3x plus 5x equals 360. Now to find x, we know that 8x equals 360, so to find x, all we have to do is 360 by 8, which will give you 45. Now, they want us to find the value of w, and we know that w is 3x. So we're just going to do 3 into 45. And you can just put that in your calculator, and you'll get 135 degrees. Okay. A, B, C, D are points on a circle. That's A, B, C, and D. PQ is the tangent to the circle at A, and BM and D is a straight line. BM and D is a straight line. Angle ACD equals 49. Angle AMB equals 105. And angle PAB equals 45. This one is 45. Find angle B. Sorry, and ACD is this one, 49. Okay, find angle BAM. So they want us to find BAM, this angle over here. So we know that for any triangle in a circle, that if the angle subtending it is the same as another triangle, we know that they're equal. So that means 49, the angle subtended by 49 is this arc. The arc is this, and for ABM, we also know it's the same arc. So that means ABM also equals 49. So now they want us to find BAM, and we know angles in a triangle are 180. So all we have to do is 180 minus 49 minus 105. And just put that in your calculator. 5, which is 26. So BAM is going to be 26 degrees. Okay, find angle BAD. So that's going to be this angle. They want this entire angle. Okay, so Um, yeah. Okay. So we know that in for any triangle in a circle that fits inside the entire circle, we know that according to the alternate angle theorem, we know that this angle, which is the angle made by the tangent to the triangle, is going to be equal to the alternate angle, which in this case will be this angle. So we know that this angle is also going to equal 45, and they want us to find BAD, which is this angle. And now again, since we have 3 points in the triangle, 49 plus BAD plus 45 is going to equal 180. So we have to do 180 minus 49 minus 45. And again, you can put that straight in your calculator and you'll get 86. Okay, give a geometrical reason why BD is not the diameter of the circle. So we know that the angle of BAD, which we found, is 86. But we also know that for triangles that have one length as the diameter of the circle, the angle is always going to be 90 degrees, and angle BAD is not equal to 90 degrees. Hence this cannot be BD cannot be the diameter of the circle. Okay, part C. A, B, C, and D are points on a circle with center O. TA and TC, which is these two, are tangents to the circle. OA is 6.75. So this is 6.75, and OT is 11.5. 11. Okay, show that angle AOC is 108.12. They want this angle. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna redraw the triangle here. Um, AOT, and we know AO is 6.75, and we know OT is 11.5. Which are we know. Oh wait, yeah, we
You
know.
could just make it. You could just put O instead of T. Yeah, that would be simpler.
No,
Exactly.
yeah, it's my triangle, got it. And we know OT is 11.5. Okay, so they want us to, and we know this is the right angle, and they want us to find angle AOC. And since both these triangles have the same radius and one same side, that means they are congruent and they are equal. So that means this angle is equal to this angle, and so this angle is just twice this angle. So to find, we all we need to do is find this angle and multiply into 2. So to find this angle AOT, we know that cos we know the rule is SOHCAHTOA, and we know cos is adjacent by the hypotenuse. So if this is the angle we want to find, it's going to be the adjacent, which is 6.75, divided by 11.5. So we know cos cos theta equals 6.75 divided by 11.5. And to find theta, all we have to do is cos inverse of 6.75 by 11.5 divided by 11.5, and that's going to be 54. But remember, we want this angle, which is twice of theta. So 2 times theta is going to be 54.05 into 2, and we're going to get 108.117. And they want corrected 2 decimal places, so it's going to be 108.12. And don't forget to put the exact values into your calculator and not round them off. Okay, calculate the length of the minor arc ABC. Okay, so the minor arc is the smaller arc, so ABC is going to be this arc. So we know the formula for arc length is theta by 360 into 2 pi r. Okay, so we know theta of ABC, which of this, which is AOC, which we just calculated, as 108.12. So it's going to be 108.12 divided by 360 into 2 pi into the radius, which will be AO, which is 6.75. So now just put this into your calculator, and for pi, just use the pi button. 12 divided by 360 into 2 pi into 6.75. And you'll get 12.73, and remember to round it off to three significant figures. That'll be 12.7. Calculate the area of the major sector OCDA. So they want this area of the major sector, and that also means they want this angle, not this angle. So firstly, we know the formula for area is going to be theta by 360 into pi r squared. And we know this theta is this angle, and we also know that angles in a circle are going to be equal to 360. So that means this angle plus this angle equals 360. So that will mean this angle is nothing but 360 minus the smaller angle, which is 108.12 divided by 360 into pi r squared, which is 6.75 squared. And when you're putting this in your calculator, don't forget to add the brackets everywhere. 360.12 divided by 360 into pi into 6.75 squared. And you'll get 100.1, which we can round off to 100. Okay, moving on. The cumulative frequency diagram shows information about the distance traveled by each 80 motorists in a month. Use the cumulative frequency diagram to find an estimate for the median. So we know that the median is in cumulative frequency. It's just the total divided by 2 at the value. So that's going to be 80 divided by 2, which is 40, the 40 at the value. So all we have to do here is extrapolate from the graph. So we're going to draw a line here and put it downwards. Okay, so now that's going to be this point in the distance. So now to find this point, we know that for 400 there are 10 boxes, so that means each box is 40. So that's going to be 1240, 1280, 1320, 1360, 1400, 1440, and 1460. So that means the median is 1460. Now they want us to find the interquartile range, and we know the interquartile range is nothing but the 0.75 value minus the 0.15 value. So if this is the first value and this is the last value, the interquartile range will lie from 0.75 to 0.25. So this entire range is going to be the interquartile range. So now all we have to do is first we're going to find 0.75 of 80. So to put that in your calculator, 0.75 into 80 will be 60. So first we need to find the 60th value. We're going to draw a line from here again and put it down. Okay, so that's going to be exactly 1600. So we know that the top value is 1600, It's going to be 1600. And we need to find 0.25. So it's going to be 0.25 into 80, and you'll get 20. So we draw a line here again at 20. And extrapolate it downwards. Uh, yeah, over here. So that's going to be 1200 minus 40, which will be 1160. So now to find the interquartile range, we have to do 1600 minus 1 uh, minus 1180. Yeah. 160. So yeah, okay, yeah. So now once we've extrapolated here, and we know that it's just going to be 1200 minus 40, which is 1160. So it's going to be 1600 minus 1160, and you can just put that in your calculator, and you'll get 440, which is our answer. Part 2. One of these motorists is picked at random. Find the probability that this motorist travels more than 1800 kilometers. Wait. Okay. So we know that 1800 kilometers. Let's just find that over here on the graph. That's going to be 1640, 1680, 1720, 1760, and 1800, 1800, which is going to be over here. So we want the probability that this motorist travels. So now we need to find the cumulative frequency for this. So again, we're just going to extrapolate it from the graph. We just draw a line upwards from here. And again, over here. So to find the number of motorists over here, again, so for this is 20, and to divide that by 10, each box will be 2. So it's going to be 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, and 72. So we know 72 travel up till 1800, but we want more than 1800. So that's going to be the total, which is 80 minus 72, which is 8. And that's our answer. Okay. The distance around a racing track is 5.104 kilometers, and the time taken by a car to complete one lap of the track is 1 minute and 18 seconds. Calculate the average speed of the car. Give your answer in kilometers per hour. So, firstly, we want the average speed of the car, which is total distance divided by the total time. And we also want our answer in kilometers per hour. That means we have to convert all our units to kilometers an hour. So this is already in kilometers. So we're just going to write this over here as it is. 5.104 divided by, and the time, which needs to be in hours. So that's 1 minute plus 18 seconds. And we know 1 minute, sorry, 60 minutes equals an hour, and we know that 60 seconds equals a minute and 60 minutes equals an hour. So it's going to be 60 into 60 seconds equals an hour. So, and here we know the time is 1 minute plus 18 seconds. So to convert the minute to the hour, we're just gonna have to do 1 by 60. Oh, sorry, 1 into my bad. Yeah, no, 1 by 60, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so now to convert the minute to the hour, we're gonna have to do 1 by 60.
You could just, yeah, sorry.
And to convert the seconds to the hour, we're gonna have to do 18 by 60 into 60. So now all we have to do is put this into our calculator. 5.104 divided by 1 by 60 plus 18 by 3600. And don't forget to add the brackets in your calculator. So you'll get your answer as 230. Hold on. Yeah, you got your answer as 235.56. And remember, IGCSE only wants three significant figures, so we have to round this off to 236. So part C. The top speed velocity in kilometers per hour of each of 160 cards is recorded, and the histogram shows this information. Show that there are 8 cards with the top speed in the interval 120 smaller than v smaller than equal to 160. Okay, so we know the interval for 120 to 160 is over here to here, which you can see by looking at the graph. And we know this is the frequency density and this is the speed. And we also know that frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by class width. So here we know the class width is 160 to 120, which is 160 minus 120, which is 40. So, and we also know the frequency density of this. So to find the frequency, all we need to do is substitute in these values. So we can just take the frequency density over here. And we know that 0.5 is 10 boxes, so each box is 0.05. 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, and 0.2. So that's going to be 0.2 equals F divided by 40. And to find F, make F the subject of the formula, we'll have to multiply both sides into 40, which will be 0.2 into 40. And if you put that in your calculator, you'll get 8, which is what they want us to show over here. F equals 8. Okay, to the next question. Calculate an estimate of the mean top speed, and you must show all your working. So for this, we know that the mean is equal to the sum of the frequencies. Oh, sorry, the sum of the frequencies into the midpoint, which we're going to put here as x, divided by the sum of the frequencies. So for this, first, we're just going to have to find all the frequencies. So let's make a table here of frequency and x, which is the midpoint of all of them. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. Okay. Wait, so we already know our first frequency is 8. And we know that our x value is the midpoint, which is going to be here as 140. Okay, so for our next frequency, we have to find the one of this bar. So again, it's just going to be frequency density into the class width. And we know this point is 160. 160. So we know this much is going to be 20. Let's find all of these bars class width. And this much is the same number of bars as this. So this is also going to be 20. And that means this is going to be 200. And so the class width of this bar is going to be, and we also know that this is equal to this, so this again will be plus 20, which is 240. And and now to find the width of this is going to be 240 minus 200, which is 40. And to find the width of this, lastly, 300 minus 240, which will be 60. Okay, now find out the frequency, and let's also find the frequency densities. So this first one is going to be 1.05, 1.2, 1.2. Okay, yeah. So the frequency density of this is going to be 1.05, 1.1, and the next one will be over here, which will be let's start over here. 1.6 second bar, 1.7, and 1.8. And for this one, it's going to be over here, which is 1.6. Sorry, 1.6. And this one, this one is, if we trace it, is just going to be 0.5. So now to find the frequency, all we have to do is multiply the frequency density by the class width. So we've already done it for the first one, and for the second one, it's going to be 1.1 into 20, which we found. 1 into 20. Put that in your calculator, you're going to get 22. Okay, and the next one is going to be 1.8 into 20 again. Just put in your calculator and you're gonna get 36. The next one will be 1.6 into 40 and you'll get 64. And lastly, it's going to be 60 into 0.5, which is 40. So now we just need to find the midpoints of all of them. This one, we know that this much is 20, so half of 20 is just going to be 10, and we add 10 to 160, so it's going to be 170 over here. And for the next one, it's going to be 10 plus 180, which is 190. And for this one, this one's already given, it's 220. And the last one, which is going to be, so we know this much is 240, and we want half of 60, which is 30 plus 240, which will give us 270. Okay, so now to find the mean top speed, we're going to have to sum up all of this value into this value, plus this value into this value, plus this value into this value, plus this value, plus, yeah, you got all of them, divided by the sum of all the frequencies. So first, let's find the sum of all the frequencies, which, wait, actually, never mind. Okay, yeah. So that's going to be 8 into 140 plus 22 into 170 plus 36 into 190 plus 64 into 220 plus 40 into 270. And we're going to divide that entire thing by the sum of all the frequencies, which is 8 plus 22 plus 36 plus 64 plus 40. So now all I have to do is put that straight into your calculator, and don't forget to put all the brackets, and you're going to get 211.75. And remember, for the mean, you can't round anything off. You have to write the entire value. And also in your working, don't forget to mention that you calculated these bars by multiplying this into this. You shouldn't just write it. You need to calculate it and show them. For example, 1.8 into 20. Okay, yeah. To the next question. 6a, work out 2 into the vector 3 minus 5 minus 2 minus 7. So we know that for vectors, when you multiply them with a number, both these values get multiplied. That's going to be 3 into 2, which is 6, and minus 5 into 2, which is minus 10. Minus, and remember now this minus sign is going to get multiplied with both of them. So it's going to be minus 2 and minus 7, which is just 7. We can add a plus sign here. So that's going to be 6 minus 2, which is 4, and minus 10 plus 7, which is minus 3. And you can also put this in your calculator to double check. Okay. Um, Vector mn is equal to minus 6, 4, and m is the point 2 minus 5. Find the coordinates of n. Okay, so we know that for mn is going to equal um, on minus om, and this on and om are just going to be the coordinates of n and the coordinates of m, because it's just their direct distance from the origin, which is their coordinates. So we want to find on, and we already know m and we know mn, so that we're just going to have to make on the subject of the formula. So we're going to make this mn plus om equals on. So now all we have to do is add this vector to this vector. So it's going to be minus 6, 4 plus, we're going to put this in vector format with 2 on the top because it's the x coordinate. So 2 and minus 5. So it's going to be minus 6 plus 2, which is equal to minus 4, and 4 minus 5, which is minus 1. So again, we have to convert this back into x and y coordinates, which is just going to be minus 4 and minus 1. Okay, find mn, and we know when they put these bars on the side, that means they want us to find the size of mn. And we also know to find the size of any vector, it's just going to be the square root of x squared plus y squared. So that's going to be root of, and we know mn is minus 6 and 4, these are the coordinates, so it's going to be minus 6 whole squared plus 4 whole squared. If you just put that in your calculator, you're going to get, wait, hold on, yeah, you're going to
Seven.
get, yeah, so, yeah, you're going to get 7.21, and yeah, we're just going to write this here as the answer. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, 7.21. So now going on to the next question. So again, there are vectors. OACB is a trapezium with OB equals 2AC. So we know OB is twice this, and we also know OB is equal to 2C. So that means this is half of 2C, which is just going to be C as AC. OA is equal to A and OB is equal to 2C. AP is to PB, which is this is to PB, equals 4 is to 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5, so that's the total. So that's going to be AP equals 4 by 5. This is the 4 by 5 parts, and that means it's going to be 1 by 5 parts. And we also know AQ equals 4 by 5 AC. So it's going to be the same with this over here. 4 by, wait, hold on. It's going to make it a little more clear. So we're just going to write 4 by 5 and 1 by 5. And we also know this whole part is C. Okay. Now, they want us to write each of the following in terms of A and C. So the first one is AB, which is A to B. So now to find A to B, we're just going to have to go backwards this way and this way. So that's going to be downwards of A, which is going to be minus A plus 2C. So minus A plus 2C, and we're just going to write that over here, minus A plus 2C. CB. So they want from this point to reach this point. That's going to be minus CA minus CA plus minus CA again minus A and plus 2C. So now we need to find CA, and we already know that CA is twice as half of this 2c, which is c. So that's going to be minus c minus a plus 2c. And now since these are the same variable, we can just do 2c minus c, which is going to be 1c. So it's going to be minus a plus c. Okay, op. Okay, so to find op, we're gonna have to go from o to p, which is over here. And for that, we're gonna have to know what AP is. And we know AP is 4 by 5 of this whole total line of AB. So AP equals 4 by 5 AB. And to find AB, we've already found AB minus A plus 2C. So then we can make this 4 by 5 of minus a plus 2c. So now we want to find, remember, not AP but OP. So we're going to make AP plus A plus AP, which is going to give us OP. So we're just going to add A to this. And remember, they want the simplest form. So we're going to have to expand these brackets. So we're going to have to multiply 4 by 5 into both of these values. So it's going to become minus 4 by 5A plus 4 into 2, which is 8. So it's going to be 8 by 5c. And that's AP, so we're going to have to add a to find OP. So plus a. So now to simplify this, we know that these are the same term, a and a. So we can add these. It's going to be 1a minus 4 by 5a, which is 1 by 5a, plus 8 by 5c. So it's going to be 1 by 5a plus 8 by 5c. 1. Okay, move down. Okay, now they want us to find QP, which is Q2P. So we already know that AP, we found AP as this, minus 4 by 5a plus 8 by 5c. We know AP, I'm just going to write AP equals minus 4 by 5a plus 8 by 5c. And we want to go from C. We want to go from Q all the way to P. And we know this, so now we just need to find QA. And remember, we know that QA, this whole thing is 4 by 5 of AC. And again, we found AC to be C. So that means this length is going to be 4 by 5 AC. It's going to be 4 by 5 C. But as we're going backwards along QA, it's going to be the negative of that. So it's going to be minus 4 by 5 C. Again, we're going to add this to AP, minus 4 by 5 A plus 8 by 5 C. And now, since these terms are, again, both C's, we can add these terms and make it 8 by 5 minus 4 by 5. And we can put this in the calculator if you want, just to double check. But you know the denominators are the same, so all you have to do is 8 minus 4, which is 4. So that's going to be 4 by 5C minus 4 by 5A. Okay. Use your answers to make two statements about the relationship between the lines QP, which we just now found, which is this, and CB. So we also found CB, which is minus A plus C. And this one is minus 4 by 5A plus 4 by 5C. So we know that QP, so 1, firstly we can say QP is equal to 4 by 5 of CB, because we know that it's literally just C minus A, which is CB, multiplied 4 by 5 times, the whole thing. And we also know that because it's a multiple of the other vector, we know that they're parallel, because we know that vectors that are multiples of each other are parallel. So we can say QP is parallel to CB. Okay, to the next question. Okay, 7a. The diagram shows field ABCD with B north of A. So that means this is directly north and it's going to be around 90 degrees. BD is the path across the field. So this is a random path. AB equals 85 meters. AD equals 72 meters. And BD equals 129 meters. And angle BDC is 39. Okay, and angle BCD is 60. So firstly, they want us to show that angle CBD is 81 degrees. CBD. Okay, so we know that angles in a triangle are 180. So it's going to be 180 minus 60 minus 39 to find CBD. So just put that in your calculator and you're going to get 81. And just write that over here when you're doing it. So now calculate CD, which is this length. Okay, so for this, we have to use the sine rule. So we know that sine A by A equals sine B by B, where A is the angle opposite of this length and B is the angle opposite of this length. So that means that, and they want us to calculate CD. So we need CD in the equation. And so that means that this angle, which we calculated as 81, so we know sine 81 divided by CD is equal to, now you can take any of the other angles. Let's take this one, 6 sine 60 divided by 129. So now to do this, all we have to do is cross multiply these two, and we'll get sine 81 into 129 equals sine 60 into CD, and just have to get rid of sine 60, so we're going to take it out of here, divide both sides by sine 60. Just put this straight in your calculator and don't forget to use the brackets. So now you're going to get the answer as, and when you, after you, yeah, now you're going to get the answer as 147 meters. So we're just going to put that in 147. And we'll also label this over here to be 147. Okay, moving down. Find the shortest distance from A to BD. Okay, sorry, yeah, here's A. Wait, yeah, okay. From A to BD. So we want the distance from here to BD. And we know that the shortest distance over here is going to be a straight line from A to BD. And since it's a straight, and it's also going to be perpendicular to BD. So we can draw a little right angle there. Okay, so we know this length, and we know this length, and we want this. Wait, actually, wait, no. We know, yeah, we know this length, and we know this length, and we want this length. And since this is a right angle triangle, which we can draw over here. Sorry, one sec. You can draw this right angle triangle over here with this as the right angle. A and B. So, and we want the shortest distance from A to, we want this, and we know this is 85. Okay, part 3. Show that the angle ABD equals 31.6. So we want this angle. Okay, and for this, we just need to use the cos rule. So we know that cos theta equals a squared plus b squared minus c squared divided by 2a Oh, sorry, yeah, my bad. Uh, 2ab. Okay, and we know that the theta has to be in between a and b over here, and c has to be the opposite side. So we can just substitute a and b as 85 and 129, and c as 72. So that's going to become um 85 squared plus 129 squared divided by 2 into um oh sorry minus wait, sorry, my bad. Let me just make this a little neater. uh, okay, yeah, so we just need to substitute these values in here, and we know that a is 85, b is 129, and c is 72, so that's going to be 85 squared plus 129 squared minus 72 squared divided by 2 into 85 into 129. So if we put that in the calculator, we're going to get cos theta. So we need to put cos inverse of this whole value. Okay, so if you put that in the calculator, you are going to get um you're going to get 31.58, which we round off to 31.2, sorry, 31.6, which is the answer over here. Okay,
Also, the slides. Yeah.
for the next question, find the shortest distance from A to BD. So we know that the shortest distance is going to be from here to here, and we know it's going to be a straight line, and it's going to be perpendicular to BD. So that means we can draw a right angle over here. And to make this clear, we can make this a right angle triangle over here with A, and we want this distance is the one we want. We know that that this distance is 85, and we just find out the angle, so we know the angle is 31.6. 31.6. Now all we need to do is use SOHCAHTOA, and we want this distance. So theta is over here, and we know that sine theta is opposite by hypotenuse, and so we know that 31.6 is equal to the opposite, the one we want to find over here, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 85. Okay, so to find the opposite, we're just going to have to multiply both sides by 85, which will be sine 31.6 into 85, and you'll get 44.53, which we can round off to 44.5. Right. Find the bearing of B from C. So we want the bearing of B from C, and when we find the bearing, always remember it's going to be from north all the way around. We want this whole entire angle. Okay, so, and from C. So, and we also know that, okay, so let me just extend this line. So all we need to do is, so we know that this much is 60. No, we know that this whole circle is 180, and we know that this much is 60. Um, we all we need to do is find, we just need to find this angle. We just need to find this angle and subtract it from 360 to find this angle. So now to find this angle, we can extend this line, and we know that these two lines are both parallel because they're both north. Okay, and we also know that we know this angle, and wait, sorry, hold on a sec. How do I do this? Okay. Oh yeah, let me just put this over here. Yeah, okay, so we know this angle is 81, and we know this angle is 31.6. So now to find this angle, we know the angles in a straight line also add up to 180. So we're just gonna have to subtract, we're gonna do 180 minus 31.6 minus 81, and we'll get 67.4 as this angle. But remember, we don't want this angle because this angle is equal to this angle, but we want let me just change the color here. Okay, yeah. We know that these angles are equal, and so as these two are parallel lines and this is the same line, and we want to find this angle which will be equal to this angle, so we can subtract it from 360 to find the bearing. So now to find this angle, all we have to do is, and we know the angles in a straight line again are 180, so it's just going to be 180 minus 67.4. Minus 67.4, just put in your calculator, and you'll get 112.6. So now to find this angle, all we have to do is, my bad, 360 minus 112.6. 112.6, and you'll get 247.4, which is our answer. Part 6. Trees are planted in the field, and the number of trees planted is 1100 per hectare. Calculate the total number of trees planted in the field, given that 1 hectare is 10,000 meters squared. So first, let's find the total area. So we found this angle to be 31.6, and we also know this length is 147. And we also know that for an area of a triangle, it's half sine theta into A in AB, given that AB is the two sides next to sine theta. So to find the area of these two triangles, we know that for this triangle, it's going to be sine 31.6 into 1 by 2, sine 31.6 into 85 into 129 plus the area of this triangle, which will be sine 39 into 1 by 2 into 129 into 147. So just put that straight in your calculator, and you'll get the total area as 8839.65 meters squared. Okay, and we also know we don't just want the total area, remember. We have two things to note here. One, that 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meters squared. So to find how many hectares this is, we know 1 hectare equals 10,000 meters squared, and x hectares equals 8839 meters squared. So now again, all we have to do is cross multiply. So that's just going to be 8839.65 divided by 10,000 equals okay, and you're going to get a number. Let's just leave it as a fraction over here. Okay, and now we want to find the total number of trees planted. The number of trees planted in the field is 1100 per hectare. So per each of these, we know there are these many hectares, and for all of these hectares, there'll be 1100. So that means we're just gonna multiply this into 1100, and just multiply the fraction into 1100, and you'll get 972.3 936, which will round off to 972. Okay, B. A rectangle has an area of 9400 centimeter, correct to the nearest 100 centimeter squared. The length of the rectangle is 80 centimeter, correct to the nearest 10 centimeter. Calculate the upper bound of the width of the rectangle. So we know that the area is equal to width into length. So width will be area by length. And we also know that, okay, and for division, when we want to find the upper bound, we're going to find the upper bound of this and divide it by the lower bound of this if we want the upper bound of this. So we also know for division, upper bound is equal to upper bound by lower bound. And now we just have to calculate these by substituting in the formula. So the upper bound of the area is going to be the area 9400 plus half of the number is correct. It's correct too. So half of 100. Okay, divided by 80 plus, and now it's going to be the lower bound. So we don't want plus, but we want minus. It's going to be minus half of 10. So now we just have to put that in our calculator. So now we just have to put that in our calculator and we'll get 126, which is our answer. Okay, a bag contains 24 colored beads. Some are red, some are blue, and 10 are yellow. One bead is picked at random from the bag. Find the probability that the bead is yellow. So we know that the probability is part by whole. So it's going to be yellow, which is 10, divided by whole, which is 24. And if you simplify this, just put in your calculator and you'll get 5 by 12. Okay, for the second part, the bead is not yellow. So we just for not yellow, we know that the total probabilities are 1 and the yellow probabilities are 5 by 12. So to find the not yellow probabilities, we're just going to subtract it. So it's going to be 1 minus 5 by 12, which is going to give us 7 by 12. And the next question. Another bag contains 5 green marbles, 6 white marbles, and 4 black marbles. Mira picks 2 marbles at random from the bag without replacement. This is important. Find the probability that the first marble is black and the second marble is white. So for the first marble, it's just going to be 4 divided by the total. So let's first find the total, which is 5 plus 6 plus 4, which will be 15 total. So now to find let's find the probability that the first marble is black and the second marble is white. So that's going to be 4 by 15 into, remember, because it's going to be and, not or. So for and, it's always into. So and the probability the second marble is white. So there are still 6 white marbles left. So it'll be 6 by, but now the total is going to be 15 minus 1 because there's 1 marble gone. So that's going to be 14. So that'll be 4 divided by 15 into 6 divided by 14. And you'll get 4 by 35. Now they want us to find the probability that both marbles have different colors. So to do this, we can either find all the probabilities that the marbles are different colors, or we can do the total probabilities, which is 1 minus the probability that they all have the same color, which will be faster. So we know that for this, we're just going to take 1, the total probabilities, minus, so the probability of them having the same colors. So first, let's take that they're both black. So 1 minus black and black, which will be 4 by 15 again, into, remember, because and the next marble. So now there, after taking 1 out, there will only be 3 marbles left. So it's going to be 3 by The total again is going to decrease by 1, so 3 by 14. So now plus, because or it could also be white and white. So that's going to be, there are 6 white marbles, so 6 by 15 into, wait, let's just add the brackets here. Um, into, let's, now this going to be 1 missing from the 6. 1 gone, so that would be 5 by, and 1 gone from the total as well, by 14. Plus, there could also be 2 green marbles, G and G. So that's going to be 5 by 15 into 1 gone from the 5, 4 by 1 gone from the total, 14. So now we're going to do 1 minus this plus this plus this. So when you're putting it into your calculator, don't forget to add all the brackets, or you could do these individually and then subtract them all from 1, which would which would be less risky as less error. And you'd get 74 by 105. Okay, 9a, f of x equals 2x minus 5, and g of x equals x squared minus 2x. So part A first, find f of 7. So we know that when it's represented like this, all we have to do is substitute this value, 7, into the x of this function. So, oh, sorry, my bad. So we can write this as, okay, yeah, so we can write this as 2 of 7 in place of x minus 5. So you can just put that in your calculator and you'll get 9. Right, so for the second part, gf of 7. So this means that f of 7 is going inside the function of g of x. So f of 7 is the input value for x, and you're going to be replacing x with f of 7. So we already found f of 7 to be 9. So now we just need to put 9 inside the g of x function. So that will be 9 squared minus 2 into 9. And again, you can just put that into your calculator and don't forget to add the brackets and you'll get 63. Okay, so for part 3, f inverse of x. So to do this, first we write our equation. We know our equation is f of x equals 2x minus 5. Then we replace this f of x with just x, and we replace x with y. So that will be x equals 2y minus 5. Now we have to make y the subject of the formula. So we can just add 5 to both sides. X plus 5 equals 2y. And now we can divide both sides by 2 to remove 2 from the y side of the equation. And this will be our answer for f inverse of x. So we can write x plus 5 by 2. Okay, part B. Find g(f) of x minus 3g of x, and give your answer in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So to find g(f) of x, again what we need to do is substitute the entire f function into the g function. So first let's find g(f) of x. So we know g of x is x squared minus 2x, and f of x is 2x minus 5. So gf of x, let's write this down, gf of x will be, now we need to put this function inside the x values in this. So, and don't forget, we need to put them into both of the x values. So it'll be 2x minus 5 whole squared. And then there's another x value here. So again, it's going to be minus 2 into 2x minus 5. Now we need to open up these brackets and simplify this. So when we're squaring an a minus b, it's going to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So for 2x squared will be 4x squared, and minus 2ab will be minus 5. Sorry, it will be 5 into minus 1 into x, which will be minus 10x, and 5 squared, which is 25. Now to open up this, we just have to multiply minus 2 inside the function, both of these terms. So that will be minus 4x plus 10. So now that we have two x
It
terms.
would be minus 25, or am I? Minus 20. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Wait, yeah,
You
I'll
could
just
just
do
write
that.
minus 20 without,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could just
Wait,
difference.
hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and minus 2ab, which will be minus 2 into 2 into 5, which will be minus 20x. No, don't forget to multiply into the x. And then again, just 5 squared, which will be plus 25. And then for this, all we need to do is multiply this into both of these two terms. So that would be minus 4x, and again, minus 2 into minus 5, which is 10. And don't forget to include the minus signs everywhere. So now that we have two x terms and two terms independent of x, we can simplify this equation again. And there's no other term for 4x squared, so we can leave that as 4x squared. And we can add the x terms, which is minus 20x and minus 4x, to get minus 24x. And again, we add the non-x terms, 25 and 10, to get 35. Now they want us to find gf of x minus 3g of x. So now we have to multiply g of x into minus 3, and g of x is x squared minus 2x. So minus 3g of x is going to be minus 3 into x squared minus 2x. And now again, to simplify this, we multiply this outside into both of the terms to get minus 3x squared, and then minus 2 into minus 3, which is just 6x. Now we need to add both of these terms, both of these equations, to give what they want. So we're going to do 4x squared minus 24x plus 35. And down here, we're going to align the like and like terms, so it'll be easier for us to add it. So over here, it's going to be minus 3x squared plus 6x. And over here, there is no term, so we can just write it as 0. And now, all you need to do is add it in your calculator. So starting from the bottom, 35. And don't forget to include the signs. And minus 24 plus 6x will be minus 18x. And again, 4x squared minus 3x squared will just give us x squared. And now we have this in the form that they also wanted, so we can just put this in our answer. X squared minus 18x plus 35. Right, to the next question. A curve has the equation y equals x cubed minus 9x squared minus 48x. Differentiate x cubed minus 9x squared minus 48x. So to do dy by dx, we know that the formula is just for x to the power a, we have to do dy by dx will give us a times x to the power a minus 1. So now we just have to apply this rule for all of these three terms. So x cubed will be, so here 3 is a, so it's going to be 3 into x to the power 3 minus 1, which is 2. And for this, 2 will be a, and don't forget for any coefficient in front, you have to multiply that into a. So it's going to be 2 into minus 9, which will be minus 18 x to the power 2 minus 1, which will be x to the power 1. And again, minus 48 into, and here x is to the power 1, so it'll be minus 48 into 1, x to the power 1 minus 1, which is 0. And we know anything to the power 0 is just 1, so then we can leave out the x there and write this as minus 48. So now we just put in the answer. And we also know that as a common rule, any number with just x as the coefficient, the differentiated term of that will just be the coefficient. Okay, part 2. Part B, find the coordinates of the turning points of the graph y equals x cubed minus 9x squared minus 48x. So to find the turning points of the graph, we know it's a cubic. So the graph is going to look something like this. And we also know that the turning points over here and over here, we know that the dy by dx is going to be 0 because the slope over here and over here is 0, and and dy by dx is nothing but the slope. So we can equate our dy by dx. Let me just write this over here. Don't forget to include um, the symbols. And right, so we know this is going to be equal to 0. So to find the turning points, all we have to do is equate this quadratic to 0. 3x squared minus 18x minus 48 equals 0. And from here onwards, it's pretty easy. All we have to do is apply the quadratic formula. But don't forget, they want us to show all our working. So of course, we have to write everything down before we put it in our calculator. So x equals minus b plus minus root b squared minus 4ac by 2a. So now, and we know this is a, this is b, and this is c. So all we have to do is minus minus 18, which is plus 18, plus minus root of minus 18 whole squared minus 4 into 3 into minus 48 divided by 2 into 3. So now we can either put this in our calculator or put this in the calculator in our quadratic mode, and either way we will get as, and when you're putting this in your calculator, don't forget to do plus and minus separately because they'll give you two different answers. So we'll get x as 8 and x as equal to minus 2. So now to find the y point, all we have to do is substitute this back into our original equation. Remember the original equation, not the differentiated one, but our original one, because we want the y points. So we're going to put that into here. Just put 8 and minus 2 in there. And one sec. You should get 52 and minus 448. Y equals 48 and y equals 52. So now we just write them in here in the coordinate form. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. This is 52. And this is 8 and minus 448. Right, to the last question. Determine whether each of the turning points is a maximum or a minimum. Give reasons for your answers. So there are many ways to do this, but I personally think the best way is to just find the second derivative, which is d squared y by dx squared. And if this is great, and you then substitute in both of your x values, and if it's greater than 0, the point is a minima, and if d squared y by dx squared is lesser than 0, the point is a maxima. Okay, so now to find the second derivative, we just have to derive our initial derivation, which we already did up here. And 3x squared minus 18x minus 48, I'm just going to write that on top. 3x squared minus 18x minus 48. So now that we have this, we just need to derive this again. So we can write this dx squared equals, so again 2 into 3, which is 6, and x to the power 2 minus 1, which will just be 1, so it's 6x, and then minus 18 into 1, and there's no x because it becomes x to the power 0, which again is 1. And we also know that for any non-x term, any coefficient independent of x, the derivative of that is 0. So we can add plus 0, or we can just leave it over here. So now what we have to do is substitute in both of our x values. So first we'll take minus 2. So it's going to be 6 into minus 2 minus 18, which is smaller than 0. You can put in your calculator to double check it. And so now we know that minus 2 comma 52 is a maximum, equals maximum. So now we have to substitute in our other point, minus 8. And also don't forget to write when over here, just so the examiner knows which scenario you're taking. When x equals minus 2, and you have this. Okay, so now we'll take when x equals 8, and we have the same equation. So now in x, we just substitute in 8. So we have 6 into 8 minus 18, and you can put this in your calculator to recheck, which is greater than 0. So then we know that 8 comma minus, let me check the y coordinate, minus 448, comma minus 448 equals minimum. And we are done. That's it. That's all the questions.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you understood each question, and we hope to see you in the next video. We hope to see you in the next video so soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.